How's it going, YouTube? So I'm back here again. Oh, and by the way, Ford is ALHR, means Ford is a love-hate relationship. I love my Mustang to death, but man, golly, it's giving me so many problems. Like, this thing's wicked quick, ton of fun to drive, but this tick that it has is driving me nuts. So it's got the typewriter or barbecue tick or whatever you want to call it. If you guys go back and watch some of my previous videos, I talk about it a little bit. I show you what it sounds like. A lot of other guys that have had the problem have either traded their cars in, got rid of them, or just said, screw it, I'm just gonna send it. Well, long story, let's actually back up a little bit. I'll tell you what happened. So it's a 2011 Mustang GT, and let's see. 2011 Mustang GT. The original engine went out on me at about 99,000 miles. The number 8 cylinder failed on me. So I bought a new Gen 2 short block from Ford. Brand new, put it in. Did some mods while I was in there, put some L&M intake cams, all new timing set, tensioners, chains, boundary, crank sprocket, and oil pump gears. And I used just a regular conventional 530 oil for 200 miles to break it in, and then switched to synthetic. And after 200 miles I changed the oil to synthetic, and then at 1,000 miles I did the oil change again, and the tick started. Now I've also noticed I've got some metal shavings in the oil. On my previous video you can see I found some in the filter, but I'm doing my oil here again now, and I've got 8,000 miles on the vehicle. I've done a few changes, about at 1,000 miles I did the oil change, and then every like 1,500 miles from there I did it again, because I'm trying to get, filter out these shavings. I was hoping it was just, break-in, but seems to be that's not the case. It's a little bit excessive for just break-in. So I just did the oil change again at 8,000 miles. I was running some Quaker State Ultimate Durability 530, and I read up on the 540 rat oil analysis page. That's a pretty high ranking oil. I think it's like number 20-ish or so out of 200 and some odd oils he tested. But I've recently discovered it might have an issue with fuel dilution in the oil, and I think that may be what's leading to my problem. And it also may have to do with a lot of these 18 and 19 direct injected cars developing the tick. Read up a lot on some of the forums on like Mustang 6G, and some other guys were talking about it too. And they can smell some fuel in their oil. Well, that would dilute the fuel down so much that it doesn't protect the rod bearings and crank bearings good enough, and that could possibly be leading to the tick on those models. Now mine is a 15 to 17 short block with just Gen 1 heads, so I shouldn't be having that issue. But I made a mistake, and I used some really cheap valve stem seals off of Amazon that I got. And looking back now, I should have just gone with some regular Ford OEM seals, or some, like, I don't know, just a better quality one, because it just recently started smoking just a tiny bit on startup, and between that okay, so the fuel dilution, I'm not exactly sure why my engine is doing it, but I do smell some fuel in the oil, and the oil does look really thinned out only after about 2,000 miles. Oh, this is what I was getting at. I went ahead and gave it a shot at porting my heads while I had them off, These heads, they're as cast, and they've got just some rough, like as cast, you know, walls inside the cylinders, or inside the heads, and like the intake ports and exhaust ports. And I just lightly sanded it down and kind of smoothed them out, but I didn't polish them. I ended with like a I don't know. The highest grit sandpaper I used was like 100 grit. And then I also port matched the intake ports of the heads to my ported 18 manifold. Now, I have a feeling now that was probably a mistake, because I think I'm not getting complete fuel atomization. And I have a feeling it's washing down the cylinders, and they're not able to lubricate properly. So maybe that has something to do with why I have metal shavings in the oil. Maybe my cylinders are being scored. But anyway, I'm switching to Rotella T6 oil today. It's a little bit thicker viscosity. It's the 5W40. I'm thinking that hopefully it'll withstand the fuel dilution a little bit better than the 530. And then I've also got some Ceratec that I bought. Now, I'm not going to put this in just yet. I'm going to run it on just the Rotella T6 for a little while and see how that goes. But here, let me get you a glimpse of this oil change I just did. Maybe you can see the shavings. Can you guys see that? Man, that's pretty bad right there. Now, they are magnetic, so might be piston ring material, might be cylinder, the cylinder sleeve material. I didn't think it was rod bearings, because from what I've heard, they're aluminum and copper. Now the backing is steel, but man, I pray I haven't worn them all the way down to the backing. I figure it would probably be knocking pretty bad if I wore them down that far. And it's not. It just has the classic typewriter tick. Now, it is worse than some other videos I've seen online, but not as bad as some. So hopefully this helps. I'll give you guys an update, see what I found. And yeah, we'll go from there. I've also been dealing with this dreaded vibration going down the highway with this 11 Mustang GT. The steering racks, I guess, were programmed wrong from the factory, so it overcorrects from the slightest inconsistencies on the road, and it just shakes going down the road. I replaced the ball joints with Pro-Forged extended ball joints, and I also did the extended tie rod ends. And when I did the tie rod ends, it helped a decent amount. And then I did the ball joints also, and now it shakes again, just as bad as it did before. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that. Probably just gonna end up having to put in a new steering rack, which sucks, but gotta do what you gotta do. Alright guys, well, let me know what you think about them metal shavings. I'm not sure what it could be. I'm open to any suggestions. So, alright guys, appreciate it. Peace out.